Hello everyone, and welcome back. I'm Sarah, and tonight you're going to improve your English while you rest. Find a comfortable position, close your eyes, and let the story guide you through natural English vocabulary, expressions, and pronunciation. Don't worry about understanding every single word. Simply relax and listen. Your brain is remarkably good at recognizing patterns, even while you're drifting towards sleep. If you enjoy this type of content, please subscribe and turn on notifications so you never miss a new story. Now, dim the lights, get comfortable, and let's begin tonight's story. The Wanderer and the Endless Road. On the edge of a forgotten kingdom, where emerald hills stretched beyond the horizon and ancient forests whispered beneath the wind, there lived a young wanderer named Elias. A wanderer is a person who travels from place to place, often without a fixed destination. Unlike most people in his village, Elias was not content with familiarity. Familiarity means the state of knowing something well because it has been experienced often. The villagers spent their lives tending farms, repairing fences, and sharing the same stories generation after generation. There was comfort in that life, certainly, but Elias often felt a peculiar restlessness. Peculiar means strange or unusual. Restlessness is the inability to remain calm or satisfied. Every evening, he climbed a hill overlooking the valley and watched the distant mountains glow beneath the setting sun. The mountains seemed impossibly far away. They represented mystery. Mystery means something unknown or difficult to understand. And mystery fascinated him. To fascinate means to attract and hold someone's attention strongly. One autumn evening, an old traveler arrived at the village inn. His cloak was worn. His boots were covered in dust. Yet his eyes carried a remarkable brightness. Remarkable means worthy of attention or unusual in a positive way. As villagers gathered around the fireplace, the traveler told stories of distant lands. He spoke of cities built upon cliffs overlooking endless oceans. He described deserts where golden sand stretched farther than the eye could see. He recounted journeys through forests filled with luminous flowers. Luminous means glowing or producing light. Elias listened in complete silence. Every story seemed to awaken something deep inside him. When the crowd eventually dispersed, Elias approached the traveler. Dispersed means scattered or moved away. "Have you truly seen all these places?" he asked. The traveler smiled. "I have seen even more than I have spoken about." His voice carried the confidence of experience. Confidence means trust in one's abilities or knowledge. "Then tell me," Elias said, "what lies beyond the mountains?" The old man stared into the fire. "For every mountain you cross, another appears beyond it." "That sounds disappointing." The traveler laughed softly. "It is the opposite." He leaned forward. "The world rewards curiosity." Curiosity means a strong desire to know or learn something. Most people believe happiness exists at the end of a journey. But often, happiness is found while traveling. Those words lingered in Elias's mind long after the conversation ended. To linger means to remain for a long time. That night he struggled to sleep. The traveler had unknowingly transformed a quiet dream into a powerful ambition. Ambition means a strong desire to achieve something. By dawn, Elias had made a decision. He would leave the village. He would follow the road wherever it led. He would discover what existed beyond the mountains. His parents were surprised. His friends thought he was foolish. Foolish means lacking good judgment or sense. The village baker predicted he would return within a week. But Elias remained determined. Determined means firmly decided. 3 days later, he packed a small bag. Inside were clothes, food, a journal, and a worn map purchased from a merchant years earlier. The map was incomplete. Large sections contained nothing except blank parchment. Parchment is a material once used for writing. Most people would consider such a map useless. Yet Elias found it inspiring. Every empty space represented possibility. Possibility means something that may happen or exist. As the morning sun illuminated the valley, he began walking. The road stretched eastward. Eastward means toward the east. His village gradually disappeared behind him. For the first time in his life, everything ahead was unknown. The sensation was both frightening and exhilarating. Exhilarating means extremely exciting and enjoyable. The first few days were uneventful. Uneventful means lacking important or exciting events. He crossed gentle hills and passed small farms. Sometimes he walked beside rivers whose waters reflected the sky like polished glass. At night, he camped beneath the stars. He discovered constellations he had never noticed before. Constellations are groups of stars forming recognizable patterns. Without village lanterns obscuring the sky, thousands of stars became visible. Obscuring means hiding or blocking from view. Each evening felt magical. On the seventh day, however, the landscape began changing. The hills became steeper. The forests became denser. Dense means thick and crowded together. Towering trees surrounded the road. Their branches formed a canopy overhead. A canopy is a covering formed above something. Sunlight filtered through leaves in scattered beams. Filtered means passed gradually through something. The forest seemed ancient. Every root, stone, and shadow appeared to possess hidden stories. Possess means to have or contain. As Elias continued walking, he noticed something unusual. Birdsong had disappeared. The forest had become unnaturally quiet. Unnaturally means strangely or not normally. Even the wind seemed reluctant to move. Reluctant means unwilling or hesitant. An uncomfortable feeling settled over him. Instinct urged him to remain cautious. Instinct is a natural feeling or reaction that occurs without conscious thought. He slowed his pace. Suddenly, he heard a voice. "Traveler." Elias froze. The voice seemed to emerge from nowhere. "Traveler." This time it sounded closer. His heart began pounding. Pounding means beating strongly and rapidly. Carefully, he turned. Standing beside a massive oak tree was an elderly woman dressed in green robes. Elias was certain she had not been there a moment earlier. The woman smiled. "You seem surprised." "Most people would be surprised," Elias replied. "A reasonable observation." Observation means a comment based on noticing something. The woman approached slowly. Her eyes possessed extraordinary clarity. Clarity means clearness and ease of understanding. "You seek something." Elias hesitated. "I suppose I seek many things." The woman nodded. "A wise answer." Wise means showing good judgment and understanding. She handed him a small silver key. The object was intricate. Intricate means highly detailed and complicated. Tiny symbols covered its surface. Elias stared at it. "What is this?" "A key." "That much is obvious." The woman laughed. The sound echoed strangely among the trees. "One day," she said, "you will discover a door that cannot be opened without it." Elias examined the key carefully. "Where is this door?" "If I told you, the journey would lose its purpose." Purpose means the reason something exists or is done. Before he could ask another question, a gust of wind swept through the forest. Leaves swirled around him. When the air settled, the woman was gone. Completely gone. Elias stood motionless. Motionless means not moving. The forest had returned to silence. Only the silver key remained in his hand. He stared at it for several moments. Then he slipped it into his pocket and continued walking. Far ahead, beyond forests and mountains, beyond deserts and oceans, beyond anything he could currently imagine, an extraordinary adventure had already begun. And although Elias did not yet realize it, The small silver key would eventually unlock a secret that had remained hidden for centuries. For the remainder of the day, Elias could think of little else besides the mysterious woman and the silver key. Mysterious means difficult to understand or explain. Every few minutes he reached into his pocket to make sure the key was still there. It always was. The metal felt cool and strangely reassuring. Reassuring means making someone feel less worried. As evening approached, the forest gradually became brighter. The trees grew farther apart. Soon Elias emerged from the dense woods and found himself standing atop a ridge overlooking an enormous valley. A ridge is a long, narrow hilltop. The sight stole his breath. Far below, rivers wound through green fields like shining ribbons. Tiny villages dotted the landscape. To dot means to be scattered across an area. Beyond the valley stood mountains taller than any Elias had ever seen. Their peaks disappeared into drifting clouds. Drifting means moving slowly. For several minutes, he simply stood there. The world suddenly seemed far larger than he had imagined. And for the first time, he realized how little he truly knew. This realization did not discourage him. Discourage means to cause someone to lose confidence or enthusiasm. Instead, it filled him with wonder. Wonder means a feeling of amazement and admiration. That night, he camped beneath an ancient pine tree. The stars emerged one by one. A gentle breeze carried the scent of wildflowers across the valley. Scent means a smell. As he lay beside the fire, he opened his journal. He began recording everything he had experienced since leaving home. Recording means writing down information for future reference. He described the old traveler. He described the mysterious woman. Most importantly, he described the silver key. If I ever find the door, he wrote, I hope I recognize it. Eventually, sleep overtook him. To overtake means to catch up to and overwhelm. For the first time in many nights, he dreamed. In the dream, he stood before an enormous gate made of silver. The gate stretched so high that its top disappeared into darkness. Strange symbols covered its surface. The symbols glowed softly. Then the silver key began floating in front of him. It moved toward the gate. Just as it reached the lock, Elias awoke. The dream vanished instantly. Vanished means disappeared completely. Morning sunlight filtered through the branches above him. For a moment he remained still. The dream had felt remarkably vivid. Vivid means producing clear and powerful images. Yet he dismissed it as imagination. Humans have a talent for turning mysteries into dreams. The next week passed peacefully. Peacefully means calmly and without disturbance. Elias followed roads through villages and farms. He met merchants transporting goods. A merchant is a person who buys and sells products. He met shepherds guiding flocks of sheep. A flock is a group of birds or animals. He met musicians traveling between towns. Each person carried stories. Some stories were humorous. Humorous means funny. Others were tragic. Tragic means involving great sadness or suffering. Elias listened carefully to all of them. Every encounter taught him something new. Encounter means a meeting or experience. One afternoon, he arrived in a bustling town called Ravenport. Bustling means full of activity and movement. Compared to his village, Ravenport seemed enormous. The streets overflowed with people. Market stalls lined every road. Overflowed means contained more than enough. Merchants shouted advertisements. Children chased one another between buildings. The entire town felt alive. As Elias explored, he noticed a crowd gathered around a fountain. Curious, he approached. At the center stood a storyteller. The storyteller's voice was powerful. Even from a distance, every word remained clear. Astonishing tales flowed from him effortlessly. Astonishing means extremely surprising. Effortlessly means without difficulty. He spoke of forgotten kingdoms. He spoke of buried treasures. He spoke of sea monsters larger than ships. The audience listened in complete fascination. Fascination means intense interest. After the performance ended, Elias approached him. "How many of those stories were true?" he asked. The storyteller grinned. "A better question would be this." He pointed toward the crowd. "How many people believe them?" Elias laughed. The storyteller laughed as well. "There is power in stories," the man said. "People remember facts for a day." He tapped his forehead. "But stories can remain here forever." Forever was probably an exaggeration. Exaggeration means making something seem greater than it really is. Still, Elias understood the point. That evening he purchased a meal at a small tavern. A tavern is a place where travelers can eat and drink. While eating, he overheard a conversation at a nearby table. 3 travelers were speaking in hushed voices. Hushed means quiet and secretive. Normally, Elias would have ignored them. However, one phrase immediately captured his attention. The hidden archive. Archive means a collection of historical records or information. Elias looked up. The travelers continued speaking. "It exists," one insisted. Insisted means stated firmly. The evidence is undeniable. Evidence means information that supports a belief or claim. The second traveler shook his head. "People have searched for centuries." Centuries means periods of 100 years. "And failed." The third traveler leaned forward. "What if they searched in the wrong places?" Elias listened carefully. The hidden archive, according to the conversation, was supposedly a legendary library containing knowledge collected across thousands of years. Knowledge means information, understanding, and learning. Some believed it was real. Others believed it was merely a myth. A myth is a traditional story or belief that may not be true. The travelers eventually left. But the idea remained in Elias's mind. A library filled with ancient knowledge sounded exactly like the sort of mystery he wished to explore. The following morning, he visited Ravenport's public library. The building was immense. Immense means extremely large. Rows of shelves stretched in every direction. Dusty books occupied nearly every available space. Occupied means filled or used. An elderly librarian greeted him. A librarian is a person who manages a library. "Can I help you?" she asked. "Perhaps." Elias hesitated. "I am looking for information about something called the Hidden Archive." The librarian froze. Only briefly. Yet Elias noticed. Her expression changed for less than a second. Expression means the look on someone's face. Then it returned to normal. "Why would you be interested in that?" "Curiosity." The librarian studied him. Studied means observed carefully. Finally, she nodded. "Wait here." She disappeared among the shelves. Several minutes later, she returned carrying a small leather-bound book. Leather-bound means covered with leather. "This is all we have." Elias opened it carefully. Most pages were blank. Only a handful contained writing. One passage immediately caught his attention. The hidden archive can only be found by those seeking knowledge rather than power. Power means the ability to control or influence. Another page contained a sketch. A rough drawing of a doorway. The doorway was surrounded by unfamiliar symbols. Symbols remarkably similar to those engraved on Elias's silver key. Engraved means carved into a surface. His pulse quickened. Pulse means heartbeat. He examined the image closely. The resemblance was undeniable. Resemblance means similarity. Trying to remain calm, he asked, "Do you know where this doorway is located?" The librarian shook her head. "No." Then she added something unusual. "At least, not precisely." Precisely means exactly. Elias waited. The librarian lowered her voice. There are rumors. Rumors are stories or information that may or may not be true. Some claim the doorway appears only to certain travelers. Certain travelers? Those who possess a key. For several seconds, neither spoke. The room suddenly felt much quieter. The librarian's eyes drifted toward Elias's pocket. Not directly, just briefly, but it was enough. Enough for both of them to understand. The old woman smiled. A knowing smile. Knowing means showing secret understanding. I think, she said gently, your journey may become far more interesting than you expected. Outside, clouds gathered over Ravenport. The wind carried the promise of rain. Yet Elias barely noticed. His thoughts were racing. Racing means moving very quickly. The silver key was no longer merely a strange gift from a mysterious woman. It was connected to something larger, something ancient, something hidden. Somewhere beyond the mountains, beyond the roads, and beyond the limits of ordinary maps, a secret awaited discovery. And every step was bringing him closer to it. The rain began shortly after Elias left Ravenport. Dark clouds gathered overhead, and a steady drizzle soon transformed into a heavy storm. A drizzle is a light rain. Elias pulled his cloak tighter and continued along the road. The librarian's words echoed in his mind. The hidden archive can only be found by those seeking knowledge rather than power. Knowledge rather than power. The distinction seemed important. A distinction is a difference between two things. Many people wanted power. Kings wanted power. Generals wanted power. Merchants wanted power. But knowledge was different. Knowledge could be shared. Power was often hoarded. To hoard means to keep something for oneself. For several days, he traveled through unfamiliar territory. The landscape gradually changed. Rolling hills gave way to rugged mountains. Rugged means rough and difficult. The air became cooler. The roads became narrower. Occasionally, he passed other travelers, but most journeys were made alone. One evening, while camping beside a river, he noticed something unusual. The silver key was glowing, only faintly. Faintly means weakly or dimly. At first, he thought it was a reflection from the fire. But when he moved away from the flames, the glow remained. A pale silver light radiated from the key. Radiated means spread outward. Slowly, the key rotated in his hand. Then it stopped. Its tip pointed toward the mountains. Elias stared. The key seemed to be guiding him. Guiding means showing the way. The next morning, he followed the direction indicated by the key. The path was steep. Steep means sharply sloping. Several times he nearly slipped on loose stones. Yet the key continued glowing. Hour after hour. Day after day. Until finally he reached a secluded valley hidden between towering peaks. Secluded means isolated and private. The valley was unlike anything he had ever seen. Wildflowers covered the ground. Crystal clear streams flowed between smooth stones. Birds sang from branches overhead. The entire place felt peaceful. Peaceful means calm and quiet. At the center of the valley stood a single stone archway. An archway is a curved structure forming an entrance. Nothing surrounded it. No building. No walls. Only the archway. And carved into its surface were symbols identical to those engraved on the silver key. Identical means exactly the same. Elias approached cautiously. Cautiously means carefully and with attention to danger. His heart pounded. Pounded means beat strongly. This was the doorway from the sketch. The doorway from the library. The doorway from his dream. Yet there was no door. Only an empty opening. Elias removed the silver key. The moment he did, the symbols began glowing. Brilliant light spread across the stone. Brilliant means extremely bright. A low hum filled the air. Hum means a continuous soft sound. The key floated from his hand. Slowly it moved toward the center of the archway. Then everything became silent. For one brief moment, time itself seemed to pause. Pause means stop temporarily. The air shimmered. Shimmered means shone with a wavering light. And suddenly a door appeared. It materialized from nothing. Materialized means appeared suddenly. The door was silver. Beautiful. Ancient. Without hesitation, Elias stepped forward. Hesitation means a pause caused by uncertainty. The door opened. Beyond it lay a vast chamber. A chamber is a large room. Rows of shelves stretched farther than he could see. Thousands upon thousands of books filled the space. The ceiling disappeared into darkness high above. Golden lights floated gently through the air. The hidden archive. It was real. Elias walked slowly between the shelves. Every book seemed unique. Some contained maps. Some contained histories. Others described inventions, discoveries, philosophies, and forgotten languages. Philosophies are systems of ideas about life and knowledge. One shelf held journals written by explorers. Another contained records from civilizations long vanished. Civilizations are advanced human societies. Vanished means disappeared. Elias felt overwhelmed. Overwhelmed means strongly affected by something large or powerful. There was more knowledge here than he could study in 100 lifetimes. As he wandered deeper into the archive, he noticed an elderly man seated at a desk. The man appeared calm, as if he had been expecting him. Expecting means anticipating someone's arrival. "Welcome," the man said. Elias stopped. "Who are you?" The old man smiled. "I am one of the keepers." A keeper is someone who protects or maintains something. The keepers preserve the archive. Preserve means protect and maintain. "How long have you been here?" The old man chuckled. Chuckled means laughed quietly. "Long enough to stop counting." Elias glanced around. "Why hide all this?" The keeper's expression became thoughtful. Thoughtful means deeply considering something. Because knowledge is powerful. Elias frowned. "Then why not share it?" "We do share it." The keeper stood. "But only with those who seek understanding." Understanding means knowledge combined with wisdom. He walked toward a nearby shelf. Imagine giving every secret to people motivated only by greed. Greed means an excessive desire for more. Many discoveries could improve lives. He paused. Others could destroy them. Destroy means ruin completely. Elias nodded slowly. He understood. Knowledge itself was neither good nor evil. Its value depended upon how it was used. For hours, perhaps days, Elias explored the archive. Time seemed different there. Different in ways he could not explain. He read stories from forgotten kingdoms. He studied ancient maps. He learned ideas that challenged everything he thought he knew. To challenge means to question or test. With each book, his perspective expanded. Perspective means a particular way of seeing things. Eventually, he returned to the keeper. "There is so much here," Elias said. "I could spend my entire life reading." "You could." The keeper smiled. "But I suspect you won't." Elias looked surprised. "Why not?" "Because the purpose of knowledge is not merely to collect it." "Merely" means simply. The keeper pointed toward the world outside. "The purpose is to use it." For a long moment, Elias remained silent. Then he understood. His journey had never truly been about reaching a destination. Destination means the place where a journey ends. The journey itself had transformed him. Transformed means changed greatly. He had left home searching for answers. Instead, he had discovered better questions. Questions about people. Questions about the world. Questions about himself. The keeper handed him a book. Its cover was blank. "Take this." Elias opened it. Every page was empty. There's nothing written here. Not yet. The keeper's eyes twinkled. Twinkled means shone brightly. Fill it with your own experiences. The realization struck him immediately. The greatest stories were not always found in books. Sometimes they were lived. Lived day by day, choice by choice, journey by journey. Elias smiled. For perhaps the first time since leaving home, he knew exactly what he needed to do. He would continue traveling, not because he was searching for a final answer, but because there was always more to learn, always more people to meet, always more places to see, always more stories to hear. The keeper escorted him back to the silver door. Escorted means accompanied someone. Before leaving, Elias turned one final time. Will I ever return? The keeper smiled. The archive appears when it is needed. Then the door closed. Elias found himself once again standing in the valley. The silver key rested quietly in his hand. The archway remained, but the door had vanished. Vanished means disappeared completely. The sun was setting behind the mountains. Golden light illuminated the valley. Illuminated means lit up. For several minutes he stood there, listening to the wind. Then he opened the blank journal. On the first page he wrote, "The world is larger than any map, deeper than any library, and more fascinating than any story. The moment we believe we know everything is the moment we stop learning." Fascinating means extremely interesting. He closed the journal, placed it carefully into his bag, and began walking, not toward a destination, not toward a treasure, not toward an ending, but toward another horizon, because every horizon hides another beyond it, and every ending is simply the beginning of a new journey. The end. The story has come to an end, and it's time to rest. Thank you for spending part of your evening with me. I hope you enjoyed the story and picked up some new English along the way. Consistent exposure is one of the best ways to build vocabulary and improve listening skills, even during quiet moments before sleep. If you enjoyed this video, please like, subscribe, and leave a comment about which stories you'd like to hear next. I'm Sarah, wishing you a peaceful night, sweet dreams, and a wonderful journey in learning English. Good night, and I'll see you in the next story.